Well, I worked on the driveway quite a bit this week, and um, it's still a mess. A bit uneven. You can see the big bumps right there, but it's quite a bit wider. There's only one section up there that I didn't get to widen. I had quite a edge over here. Started filling it in there. Needs a little bit more there to widen it and give it a good base so it doesn't wash away. I think I'm gonna need a culvert right here. It's pretty wet back in there. And then right where that opens up, I need another culvert there. It's really dry right now, but in the spring, the stream was just flowing over. This is the area that I got stuck with my skid steer and brush hog. So I've been pushing a bunch of material into there. It was muddy, but there wasn't a lot of water. That just is from the big trench that I created trying to get the skid steer out. There's a muddy spot here that needs to be filled in. I'm gonna have a bunch of, I think there was another stream kind of going across the road here, but it's not really a drop off over there. So I think I'm just gonna build this up, and hopefully with those other culverts will be good. I think there will probably always be water going across this because it's so low, and depending on if the stream gets filled up, how much rain we get. It gets a little higher here, and then from here on, there really isn't any issue with mud. I just need to get a skid steer in here so I can, get this a little bit more leveled out. My excavator tears up stuff good. I could push the brush back, widen the road, but it doesn't do a very good job with keeping it level. So I got to figure out what I'm going to do with that. But as you can see, I widened it a bit, pushed some sections in here, kind of a berm on the whole side now. But I think if I were to get some of these chunks of sod out, I could probably get my 2-wheel drive van back in here now. It'd be a bumpy ride, but the goal is to be able to get a semi in here with a couple of containers, and I also need to pull a camper back here as soon as I get one. So I got a little work to do. It doesn't help that my skid steer's kind of broke down right now, but yeah, I'm gonna have a ton of material to bring in. I've only had 2 loads of 2 to 3 inch crushed rock so far. The road hasn't been maintained in like 10 plus years, other than maybe mowing the 2-track once or twice. But there is some material here. It's a pretty solid base, other than those muddy spots where it probably got washed out. So I don't think, other than lots of material, widening it hasn't been too much of a challenge. But there will be a lot of material to bring in, a lot of material to move around. So I got to get my skid steer back in action. I actually rented one this weekend, and I got about an hour and a half worth of work out of it. It was a Bobcat T550, and worked great. But then it just died when I was in the middle of doing like a back scrape or something, or just smoothing out the driveway in reverse. It just stopped, fired right back up, but I had no LCD, no electronics, no nothing. And here's another little section. I just kind of made a little ditch here, so maybe the water will kind of go down into there, but I got it really wide down here. If you look back, you'll see there's some narrow spots there I'm gonna have to work on a little bit more. Legs are coming out, but anyway, so no electronics. It would fire up, it would go forward and backward, the boom would not work, and no electronics. I couldn't push on a Bobcat, there's like a green button you push to kind of operate. That wouldn't light up or anything. So luckily, you know, it would stall out after every 10 seconds. So I could go forward and backwards enough to get it loaded on the trailer. I called the guy. It was like, I think it was $2.85 a day. And I think I got an hour and a half out of it. So I called him as soon as it happened so he would know, hey, I was dead in the water. He told me to bring it. Said they would send somebody, but I said I could get it loaded and bring it in. He said, okay. So I dropped it off there today, the next day. And he'll be able to see once he gets it working that I only put an hour and a half maybe 2 with loading and unloading. But you can see I got this really wide here. I was kind of learning the power of the mini excavator with the back blade and kind of pushing back, smashing some trees down, stuff like that. So it was fun. I got the culvert up here to 15, or no, I got a 10-inch by 20-foot single wall. It's the plastic culvert, and I'm gonna cut it in half. I think should be, I don't know, I'll have to see. I may have to get another one. They're like $78, so not too bad. The metal ones are like 200, and I couldn't even find them anywhere. Tractor Supply used to sell them, but they don't anymore. So here's some of the rock I got spread. You can see how much I widened the driveway. And still need to do some scraping there because it's kind of a slope. But I had one more. I had 2 loads of this, 2 8-ton loads delivered. And only got one spread out. The second load, they ran out of crushed 3-inch. Didn't run completely out, but they didn't have enough for a full load. So the guy that delivered it said he didn't want to bring me just a half load. So asked if I wanted some smaller stuff mixed in. That was fine with me. I just need material. So got a lot of work to do still, but it's coming along. I just need to get to the point where I can get some semis back here with a couple of 20-foot shipping containers. I do have a 45-foot I need to get back here also, but I gotta empty it first. The trucking company can't carry a loaded 45-footer, and I understand why. So this is the end of the driveway. It's just, I think it's over a 1/4 mile long. Whatever, between a 1/4 and a half mile. I thought it was closer to a half mile, but maps are telling me otherwise. Got these dock sections for like, I think I paid $50 each, 10-footers. I gotta get them away from the road though, because people think they're free. I already had a couple people stop and ask, so. My neighbor's been nice enough over here to let me park my van and trailer, get it off the road, because I'm afraid if I try to pull down here, it's gonna be hard to back out. There's a tailgate to it. So I'm gonna move these and call it a day.